Oh, no, Leo. Have you ever had to apologize in English, but the words just came out completely wrong?
Absolutely, Mia. It's the worst feeling, right?
It is. You sound insincere or maybe even angry just because you couldn't find the exact right word to express how sorry you truly felt.
You want to show respect and sincerity, but your brain is stuck on grammar rule number 47.
Exactly. That awkward silence when you know you messed up a verb tense and you just freeze.
It ruins the whole apology. You completely lose the meaning.
Welcome, everyone, to the English Blend. I'm Mia.
And I'm Leo.
Welcome to the English Blend. Today, we are talking all about moving past that language block when you need to communicate something important, like making an apology, but you feel like you are failing.
The episode is titled English for Making Apologies, but really it's about making your communication effective even when you aren't perfect.
Because let's be real, communicating effectively, especially when dealing with apologies or sensitive topics, requires confidence and flow.
Exactly. So grab your coffee and let's get started.
So, Leo, we need to start by defining two things that learners often mix up, or maybe they focus too much on one and ignore the other.
You mean fluency versus accuracy?
That's the pair. They sound similar, but they are very different goals when you are speaking English.
Accuracy first is really all about getting the rules right. It's about perfection.
Yes, accuracy means your grammar is perfect. Your verb conjugations are spot on.
Your vocabulary choice is precise, and your pronunciation is textbook perfect.
And that sounds great, right?
In theory, we all want perfect accuracy.
But in practice, especially when you need to apologize quickly because you spilled coffee on someone at the cafe, perfect accuracy just isn't feasible.
Right. If you spend 5 minutes calculating the past perfect continuous tense of to spill, the moment is past.
And you just look like you are avoiding the person you need to apologize to. That's not a sincere look.
That's where fluency comes in. Fluency is the flow of communication.
Fluency is about moving smoothly from one thought to the next. It's about speed and ease.
It's not about perfection at all. It's about being understood quickly, clearly, and naturally.
So if you say, "Oh, I very sorry, coffee is on your shoe," it's inaccurate, right? The grammar is a bit off.
Totally inaccurate. It should be, I am very sorry, or I apologize, and maybe the coffee spilled on your shoe.
But is it fluent? Yes. Did you get your point across? Absolutely yes. The person knows immediately that you are apologizing and that you recognize the problem.
And that phrase, get your point across, is so important here. It means successfully communicating your main idea regardless of minor errors.
It doesn't matter if you missed the article the or the auxiliary verb am. You were fluent and the communication was successful.
That's the key takeaway right there. Fluency equals communication, not perfection.
If you prioritize communication over perfection, you relax and you actually become more fluent.
And ironically, when you become more fluent, you have more mental space to work on improving your accuracy later.
It's a positive feedback loop, you know?
Definitely. Now, let's talk about the biggest barrier to fluency, which we see all the time, especially when people are trying to express something emotional, like regret.
The grammar block.
The dreaded grammar block. It's when your brain jumps into editing mode instead of speaking mode.
It's like a strict English teacher is living inside your head, correcting every single word before you even say it.
And that teacher is very demanding. Before you can say, "Excuse me, I need to talk to you," your internal teacher is checking the subject-verb agreement and thinking about the right preposition.
This constant self-correction totally stops the flow. It creates hesitations and those long, awkward silences we talked about.
And when you are trying to make an apology, those hesitations make you seem uncertain or like you are trying to find an excuse, rather than being genuinely remorseful.
Imagine you accidentally deleted a crucial file at work. You need to apologize to your boss immediately.
If you stop to meticulously plan the sentence, I regret to inform you that the aforementioned digital document has been inadvertently erased due to my personal operational error.
Your boss will be tapping their foot and thinking, just tell me what happened.
Exactly. A fluent, simple, slightly inaccurate apology like, "Oh, sorry, I deleted the file by mistake. I'm fixing it now," works far better.
The grammar block makes us focus on structure when we should be focusing on speed and sincerity.
We're taught in school that accuracy is everything, right? So we internalize this idea that a mistake means failure. And that feeling of potential failure is what makes us hit a wall.
Hit a wall, that's a great phrase for this feeling. It means you stop making progress because you feel stuck or mentally exhausted.
When you hit a wall in speaking, it's usually because you tried to translate too many complex thoughts or apply too many rules simultaneously.
It's mental overload. Your brain just says, nope, shutting down.
So, the first step to overcoming this is accepting a certain level of inaccuracy, especially when the situation demands quick communication, like an apology.
We need to give ourselves permission to be imperfect. It is not the end of the world if you make a mistake.
That's our third key phrase, not the end of the world. It means the mistake or problem is minor and won't have catastrophic consequences.
And it's true. If you say she go to the shop instead of she goes to the shop, will the world stop spinning? No. Will the listener understand you? Yes. That slight inaccuracy is acceptable because you achieved fluency. You kept the conversation moving.
Let's pivot here and talk about a quick cultural note related to communicating something difficult, like an apology, across different languages.
This is interesting because fluency isn't just about grammar. It's about cultural awareness, too.
Absolutely. I remember a friend telling me about trying to apologize for being late to a formal meeting in Japan.
Oh, I bet that required extreme politeness.
It did. My friend, who was a B2 English speaker, used English as the common language, but he kept translating a very casual phrase from his native tongue, "my bad."
My bad is very common, very casual English slang for I apologize or it was my fault.
But in a formal business context, especially when dealing with punctuality, my bad sounds incredibly dismissive and flippant.
It minimizes the seriousness of being late. It doesn't convey appropriate regret for wasting others' time.
Exactly. He thought he was being fluent because the words came out fast, but he failed to get his point across because the tone and cultural register were completely wrong.
He was accurate in using the phrase my bad, but inaccurate in applying it to the context.
The fluency allowed him to speak quickly, but the lack of contextual knowledge meant the apology failed.
So when we talk about fluency, we also mean flowing naturally within the social rules of the English-speaking environment.
A simple, slightly less accurate sentence like, "I am very sorry for late," combined with sincere body language, would have been much better than "my bad," traffic.
That shows us that fluency means choosing the right chunk of language for the situation, not just the right grammar rule.
Which leads us perfectly into our practical tips for improving fluency and beating that grammar block.
We have a few real, actionable steps you can take starting today.
Tip number 1, focus on chunks, not single words.
This is huge. A chunk is a group of words that naturally go together, like a fixed phrase.
Instead of learning I, then am, then sorry, then for, learn the chunk, I am sorry for the delay.
Or relating to apologies, instead of building the sentence every time, learn chunks like, I completely forgot about that. Or, that was my fault entirely. Or, let me make it up to you.
When you learn these chunks, your brain doesn't have to assemble the sentence word by word, checking the grammar for each component. The chunk itself is already grammatically correct, so you just retrieve the whole phrase and say it fluently.
It drastically reduces the cognitive load, which is why you stop hitting a wall in the middle of a sentence. Think of it like pre-made ingredients. You don't have to chop the vegetables, they are already chopped and ready to throw into the stew.
Yes. And practicing these chunks in realistic scenarios, like practicing 5 different ways to apologize for being late, helps your fluency immediately.
You want to memorize those functional phrases so well that they come out automatically when you need them.
Tip number 2, adopt the 3-second rule.
This is for combating the grammar block directly.
When someone asks you a question, or when you feel the need to respond, especially if you need to apologize or explain yourself, you must start speaking within 3 seconds.
If you wait longer than 3 seconds, your brain has jumped into that painful internal editor mode.
You start meticulously planning, and you lose the chance to be spontaneous and fluent.
So if your friend says, "Hey, why didn't you text me back about the party?" and you wait 5 seconds,
You're probably trying to formulate a complex explanation about why you were busy last Tuesday afternoon.
if you apply the 3-second rule, you just force yourself to say, "Sorry, I forgot my phone at home," or, "Oh, I was busy, I totally missed your message."
It might not be the most perfectly accurate sentence, but it's fast and you got your point across. And you avoided that awkward silence.
The key is that the rule encourages output over internal analysis. It prioritizes communication flow.
Remember, we agreed. It is not the end of the world if you use a slightly wrong verb tense if you start speaking quickly.
Fluency is about momentum. The 3-second rule helps you keep that momentum going.
Tip number 3, massive listening for tone and flow.
This might sound simple, but listening is the foundation of natural speech.
We're not just talking about understanding the words, we are talking about understanding the rhythm, the intonation, and where native speakers pause.
Especially when listening to apologies or expressions of regret in English movies or podcasts. How do they sound when they are sincere?
Do they rush? Do they slow down? Do they use specific filler words like, well, or I mean?
Massive listening helps you subconsciously absorb those natural chunks and the proper emotional tone for specific situations.
For instance, listening to how people use, oh dear, or I really messed that up, helps you realize which phrases convey appropriate solemnity versus casual error.
If you listen constantly, those natural pauses and patterns become part of your internal blueprint.
And when you go to speak, you're not translating word by word, you're reproducing patterns you've heard thousands of times. That's fluency.
The sheer quantity of listening exposure helps you avoid hitting a wall because you have a larger repository of automatic language.
Let's add a couple more quick, actionable tips here because the goal is maximum fluency practice.
Tip number 4. Record and review your mistakes immediately.
Don't wait until Friday afternoon to look at what you said wrong on Monday. If you feel like you made an awkward apology at work, record yourself saying it correctly afterward.
Use your phone, say the interaction out loud, and listen back. Focus on flow first, then accuracy.
If you hear a hesitation, practice the sentence 10 times until it comes out smoothly.
This rapid feedback loop helps your brain correct the errors before they become ingrained habits. It turns potential errors into immediate learning opportunities.
And finally, tip number 5, use filler words liberally.
Filler words are the secret weapon of fluency.
They give your brain those precious few extra milliseconds to find the next word without pausing the entire conversation.
Instead of silence, which signals an error or hesitation, you can use, well, like, so.
These aren't perfect grammar, but they maintain the flow. They are tools that help you get your point across without stopping.
So when you are apologizing and you momentarily forget the word for report, you can say, "I'm sorry, I was just looking at the big document."
See? You kept the rhythm going and you successfully communicated the idea. That is fluent speech.
This goes back to our core philosophy. It is not the end of the world if you use a few fillers. It shows you are engaged and trying to communicate.
Let's summarize our essential language focus for effective communication, especially when making apologies or conveying important feelings.
We had 3 great phrases today that are super useful in everyday conversation.
Number 1, get your point across.
Meaning, successfully communicate your main idea, regardless of minor errors. Example, even if your grammar is weak, try to speak fast enough to get your point across.
If you are explaining why you missed a deadline, focus on making sure the boss understands the reason for the delay, not on conjugating every single verb perfectly.
Number 2, hit a wall.
This describes that frustrating feeling when you are stuck and can't make progress. Example, I kept trying to translate complex sentences, and I just hit a wall.
When you hit a wall, remember to take a deep breath, use a simple chunk, and focus on moving forward, not perfection.
And number 3, not the end of the world.
This is for self-encouragement. It reminds you that mistakes are normal and usually minor. Example, I made a few grammar mistakes in my presentation, but hey, it's not the end of the world.
When you are learning to apologize, remember that the sincerity in your voice and the speed of your response are often more important than the perfect placement of the comma.
Prioritize fluency. Use chunks. Be brave and start speaking within 3 seconds.
If you do that, you will find that those difficult conversations, like sincere apologies, become much easier and more natural.
Because you will be focusing on the person you are talking to, rather than the grammar teacher inside your head.
That was a great talk about achieving flow, Leo. We covered how important it is to distinguish fluency from accuracy.
We learned that the grammar block makes us hit a wall, and the solution is using chunks and the 3-second rule.
And we learned that even if you make a mistake, it's not the end of the world as long as you get your point across.
Yes, exactly. Keep practicing those conversational chunks daily and don't be afraid to make a little mess with your English.
We'll see you next time on the English Blend, where we'll be talking all about the difference between telling a lie and telling a white lie.
It's a fun one, so tune in.
That was a great talk.
Yes, see you in the next episode of the English Blend.